Christopher Nkunku is linked with a move away from Chelsea. And to be honest with you, I'm not particularly surprised. He hasn't had much game time at all since he's come to Stamford Bridge. And some agree with it, some don't. Nicholas Jackson has been getting all of the starts in the Premier League. And Nkunku has been pretty much shunned off and told that he is a cup player at the moment. Certainly not what he would have expected when he first joined Chelsea. I can imagine he was probably expected to be our star player like when he signed. But since then, a lot has changed. He's picked up injuries and he's had a few problems as well. But now he's fully fit. He's trying to get back in there. And there is interest from Manchester United for Christopher Nkunku. Also, Chelsea are going to be looking at a new centre-back in January. They're diving into their sort of scouting network to see who is available. So we're going to get into all of the latest Chelsea news. Big up to everyone that's watching. Welcome to Chelsea Fan TV. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's dive into it. So it's a very, very interesting situation with Nkunku. I think everyone can agree that it's been a bit harsh, the fact that he hasn't had many minutes in a Chelsea shirt. But also, I can understand it to an extent because Nicholas Jackson has been absolutely fantastic. So as much as Nkunku would be unhappy, you know, there's games where he scores a goal and Jackson goes and scores two. You know, every time Nkunku has generally come out and made a statement, Jackson has responded. And it's only been recently that Jackson's dipped off in terms of his form. He wasn't great against United. He didn't have his best game against Arsenal either. So I think that it's fair to say that Nkunku deserves minutes at this moment in time. But over the course of the season, maybe not. But it seems like Ruben Amorim, Manchester United's new manager, is certainly interested in Nkunku. Manchester United have inquired about Chelsea forward Christopher Nkunku. This is according to the Express. Archie Griggs wrote this article, so that's the source. They're expected to be active in the winter market to help their new manager get off to a strong start as the manager. Nkunku has emerged as a top target for United, according to L'Equipe, with the Frenchman said to be unhappy with his playing time at Chelsea. He has been restricted to just one Premier League start this season, despite scoring freely in all other competitions. The 26-year-old has already bagged 9 goals in the Carabao Cup and Conference League, but continues to be overlooked by Enzo Maresca. As a result, he is thought to be considering his future at Stamford Bridge, with a January exit among the possibilities. It is said that United are ready to make a statement of intent by bringing Nkunku to Old Trafford when the transfer window opens. However, several other clubs are believed to be keen, which suggests United will be facing a battle to secure the forward's signature. The reports said that Chelsea would be open to selling Nkunku, given the amount of firepower they currently have at their disposal. Only time will tell if they will be willing to do business with United, or if Chelsea would prefer to sell to a non-English club. Nkunku has largely been forced to sit on the bench in the Premier League, with Nicholas Jackson establishing himself as Chelsea's first-choice striker. Maresca did address Nkunku's situation ahead of the win over Newcastle earlier this month. That's the Premier League game, obviously. Explaining that he will get plenty of minutes with Chelsea, battling on all different fronts. And I quote, this is what Enzo Maresca had to say. He said, he's going to help us because the season is very long. We have many games, and also the game plan can be different. It can be more for Christopher than Nico. We also have young talent, so we can choose. Now, in terms of Nkunku's contract situation, he still is tied down to a contract, a relatively large contract. I think he's on around 190 grand a week at the moment. So he's one of the higher earners. He wasn't given a contract by the new regime in terms of Egbali. It was a slightly higher. It was more that Bowley style, isn't it? You know, give him a nice big contract, star player, and that's certainly what Nkunku was when he came to Chelsea, with the high score in the Bundesliga. A lot of expectation, but it was a shame he got injured. But yeah, I mean, his deal reportedly does not include a release clause. So he is stuck at Chelsea until 2029 unless someone breaks that, or unless we decide to accept another offer, meaning the Blues will be under no pressure to sell, even if he pushes for an exit. Chelsea might be willing to let Nkunku leave if they sign another forward, with Victor Osimhen still believed to be a target. He is currently on loan at Galatasaray, but the deal is thought to have a break clause that will make him available in January. Jonathan David, who plays for Lille, is also on Chelsea's radar, apparently, according to this source, and will be out of contract at the end of the season. If he does not sign an extension before the new year, he will be free to hold pre-contract talks in January with clubs outside of France. So, yeah, I mean, that's all the latest regarding this specific article on Nkunku. The fact that his contract goes until 2029 tells me that, to be honest with you, he doesn't really have any power at the moment, because whatever he does, ultimately Chelsea want to retain their assets, especially if their assets are doing well, or make a nice bit of money on a transfer fee. I mean, Nkunku's not old. You know, he's still a relatively young player. Let's have a look. How old is Nkunku? Nkunku age. He is 26 years old, Christopher Nkunku. So still young. Let's be honest, still pretty young. You know, we've got plenty of time. We could easily hold on to him and still have plenty of firepower. I mean, we actually did an end of season review, guys, which will be going live later on today. So that's a podcast with myself, Charlie, Scott, and Ziad. We spoke about basically the season so far. What do we think about it? And one of the problems that we seem to have at the moment is what's going on with Christopher Nkunku, because, you know, we got such a great player who's been forced to play out of position because of the signing of João Felix. If we had never signed João Felix, we would have Nkunku playing in his natural position. He'd be competing against Palmer, but I think there'd be a better chance of seeing Nkunku perform consistently and have good games, not just scoring goals, because he's been scoring goals. But the argument is, even when he scores, is he actually making the team better? Is he making the players around him better? Which is what we say about Nicholas Jackson. So, yes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me as well, Woodshare, that Nkunku was a Marina signing. You're absolutely right. We signed him. Yes, we signed him in advance, didn't we? He continued to play in Germany, and then he came to Chelsea. So you're absolutely right. What was he, a Marina signing? God, it's been such a long time. But it was around that time. So I think you might have corrected me there. Thank you for that. Big up to everyone that's watching. Nemanja doesn't think Nkunku will go. We need to try and find a way to fit him in. Randy thinks that, Randy thinks that it's hard to start Nkunku at the moment. Max thinks that Nkunku can level up anyone if used correctly. So we can't let him go to a rival. I mean, Man United would be a real kick in the teeth as well, because Nkunku will perform. He's performed for us when we've been terrible. I can imagine he'll know what to do at Man United, and I think he solves a lot of their issues as well, because they've got Fernandes, but Fernandes is consistent, but he's not consistent because he never performs in big games. And Nkunku, for me, is a man that you can count on pretty much all the time if you're looking for a goal. He never lets you down fully in those big games. I would feel very comfortable starting Nkunku in a lot of these bigger matches. So we can't really answer the question because we haven't seen him in enough. But this is a player more than capable of competing at the top level. I certainly believe that Nkunku is more than capable of leading the lines. But Jackson has been playing well. I mean, we can't doubt that. So, it is one of those things. Just a little news as well regarding Enzo Maresca. I'm just going to share my screen with you now. The young players in today's game, and the manager has plenty of them, is consumed by data. They want to be told why they are doing certain things, and Enzo Maresca is happy to show them. His explanations are heavy on detail, and that's reported by the Guardian Sport. So, I mean, that's one thing that I like, because, I mean, I don't know if you guys played football. I'm presuming a lot of you did. If you ask your coach or even your teacher, it might not even be football, Why is this the case? And if they can't explain why, I think it's very, very difficult. You know, how are you going to win over your squad and get them to buy into your ideas if you can't even explain why you want them to do whatever it is that you want them to do? So I think that's that's a very fair point. And we've certainly seen some of our players improve, not all of them. You know, we spoke about Malagusto, for example, a player who I actually think has got worse under Enzo Maresca, if I'm totally honest. He suited Pochettino's style of play a lot more. But, you know, you're never going to please everyone, are you? Ultimately, it's up to the players to level up. That's the situation as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I mean, we've also got some news regarding Wesley Fofana as well. So we've got a little article for you here. We're going to go through that. Wesley Fofana pulls out of the French squad with a knee issue. Bear in mind, guys, how old is he? 22 years old, 21. This is his 9th knee problem since he started playing football. Is this not a huge concern? Is this not a huge concern? Because I can't understand how we can trust a player who is never fit. I have nothing against Fofana on a personal level. I think that, honestly, Fofana he's a good player. And I think that from what we've seen this season, and I've been a big advocate for Tosin. I thought Tosin would be a lot better than he has been. I thought he actually started off relatively well. He had a great game against West Ham. But recently, I haven't been impressed at all with Tosin. Even when we beat Noah 8-0, I thought Tosin was terrible. And he scored in that game. But I thought, wow, we could have easily conceded 2 goals because of poor defending. But yeah, Tosin hasn't forced a way into the side. So you're forced to go with Fofana. He is the best out of the bunch at the moment. But, I mean, that tells me that we need to dive in and, you know, look around for other defenders. But yeah, I mean, let's go through it. I mean, apparently it's inflammation in his knee. That's the problem, inflammation. He's got pain in his left knee. It's reported by Fabrice Hawkins. Chelsea did tests on his knee this morning and decided that he should not join up the French squad as they do not want any risks to be taken. He was very good in the Arsenal game, but obviously he's picked up some sort of a knock of some sort. Maresca's obviously a big fan of Wesley Fofana. He said in the past that he's in love with him as a player. I'm not sure if I would go that far. I think that's a little bit personal for me, but I understand what he's saying. Yeah, so I mean, I hope Fofana gets better, but we knew this was going to happen. We knew that there was going to be an injury, and of course there is with Fofana. So yeah, if we can keep him fit during that January period up until that point, fair enough. But I do think there's going to be a problem. And I think that it's absolutely right for Chelsea to be looking around for a new centre-back. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. All right, let's have a look. Unless the price tag is high, it's best to keep Nkunku and keep the club competitive. I absolutely agree. Max thinks it's fake news. Woodsheddar, our director and coaching staff should set our priorities right. And Nkunku is the optimal age for our squad and an elite player. Selling him to a direct rival is a bad move. I'm with you there, man. I'm with you. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell him to United. I guess the problem is, though, who do we sell him to if we actually want to sell him? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, who do we sell him to? If nobody else is going to pay, then you're going to see what's out there, aren't you? And if Man United offer, let's just say 60 million, I mean, you're getting your money back. You might even make a little bit of profit on that deal. So, I mean, where do you stand on that? Hope you're doing well, guys. Hugh, good to see you again. I hope you are very well. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about the players that Chelsea are interested in signing. One of the sources now, there's a second source claiming that Chelsea have been in contact to sign a player Fabrizio Romano says they love. So let's have a look. The Blues are looking to add a new centre-back to the ranks, and yesterday it was reported by Fabrizio Romano that Chelsea are on the hunt for a new defender and now have Benfica's Thomas Araujo on their radar as a player they are a big fan of. And it seems like now this is a link that is actually building more and more momentum as a second source also puts their report out on this story, and it's a local source. So it's actually a source close to Benfica, which I would argue is more reliable than an English one, because why the hell would anyone in England know anything about Benfica unless they have some really, really good links? So that does make it a little bit more believable, especially the fact that the man Fabrizio, who generally does get things right, is on the case. It's clear that Chelsea want to bring in a new centre-back. Well, you've got that right. But really, they should be targeting a dominant profile with a bit more experience and a player who's proven and established. And according to this, Araujo is... So he's not experienced, but he is a top talent. So this is classic Chelsea. Classic Chelsea. Let's see what's on the market. I mean, are we still paying an inflated transfer fee for this? I mean, if it's cheap, then I'm all for it. If he's a top talent, I don't have a big issue with it. Everyone says Bastoni this, Bastoni that. You've got to remember as well, Bastoni is a left-sided centre-back. So when we're talking about Fofana, we're talking about Disasi, Tosin. You've got Badiashile as well on the left side, cover for Colwell, but you've only got two players really there. But the problem is the right side for me, because I don't have a big issue with Colwell. I actually think Colwell's the best of what we have in the middle. So if you get Bastoni in, are you telling me that we move Levi Colwell onto the right side of defence? Or are we going to drop Levi Colwell and play Bastoni next to Fofana? Now, that doesn't... It seems like an upgrade. Bastoni is obviously better than Levi Colwell at the moment. But why would I drop Colwell when I could find a replacement for Fofana? So it'd be interesting to see what the release clause is for Araujo from Benfica. Okay. He has a €100 million release clause. But yeah, nobody's going to be paying that. So we'll try and bring that fee down if we can sign him. But in January, these things generally aren't cheaper. They're more expensive. That's when we bought Enzo Fernandez, Mudryk, among other players. So yeah, I mean, we have a history of negotiating with Benfica, and I would argue that Benfica have come out on top because they've got us to pay a ridiculous amount of money. It's only good negotiating if you still get a good fee for that player. So is Moises Caicedo good negotiating? Oh, I don't know. I mean, you could argue that because we did spend a long time speaking to the player and being in touch with him, and that was why he chose Chelsea over Liverpool. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? It is interesting. So yeah, I mean, Araujo, I haven't seen much of him, guys. Does anyone know anything about Araujo? I personally, I don't know enough to really be able to comment properly on that. But I would rather have a really experienced player in the middle. I think that would help massively. You know, just like we were talking about with Nkunku, this is a player who, you know, he's played at the top level. He's been there, done that, scored goals. He's been the highest scoring player in the Bundesliga. You don't think he'll score goals in the Premier League? Of course he will, but he needs to be given a chance. But it's difficult because it's not just about goals sometimes. Goals is important, but it's also about what you do off the pitch. Unless you're a player like Haaland and you score more goals than you play games, then it's very difficult to justify a player like that who doesn't contribute in the build-up or anything else. So, yeah. Also, another little update for you guys regarding some youth player. So, Chelsea starlet Keanu Dyer is on the radar of English clubs, rival English clubs and foreign clubs who are hoping to lure the England under-19 midfielder with a prospect of a greater chance of first-team football. Keanu Dyer was named the Premier League 2's Player of the Month last week. Yeah, let's have a look. So leading clubs are monitoring his situation at Chelsea. He's been a standout performer this season, culminating in being named the Premier League's 2's Player of the Month last week. His progress has also been recognised by Chelsea coach Enzo Maresca, who called him into the first team squad for the Europa Conference League tie with Ghent. So Enzo Maresca has his eye on Keanu. However, the 17-year-old, who is the son of former Leicester City and West Bromwich Albion winger Lloyd Dyer, is coming to a crucial stage in his young career. Well, he will only have 1 year left on his contract by the summer. A technical all-round midfielder, Dyer was signed by West Brom's academy and is considered a bright prospect for Chelsea's first team. But the pathway towards regular game time at that level is congested, and it is alerting rival clubs willing to give him a greater chance of first-team football. So here he is. There's Keanu. I'm not actually sure what position he plays in, so I'm just going to check that. Keanu Dyer position. Doesn't say, does it? He is a midfielder. He's a midfield player. So if we're looking for progression, he will be up against players like Santos, Ugochukwu in the future. You got Casady there, obviously Enzo Fernandez, Lavia, Caicedo. Pretty difficult to see him getting into the side. So you can understand if he's open to looking at other options. I think that's fair. There is a lot of talent in that area. Scouts from home and abroad are following developments and are due to watch him for the England under-19s in Bulgaria this week for their European Championship qualifiers against Lithuania, Bulgaria, and Belgium. Chelsea have been actively snapping up top talents from across the globe, but were stung by the recent departure of highly rated Rio Ungahoma to Liverpool. The 16-year-old with training was Arne Slot's first team last week, just to compound the loss felt by Chelsea. I don't even know too much about that guy, to be honest, but I did hear he was a top talent. So obviously any top talent that leaves Chelsea for Liverpool is a shame. I hope that, I hope nothing comes of it, but you never know, do you? As they work on their business template of having the best young talent across all their sides, they will not want to lose such a promising player as Dyer. Talking after receiving his Premier League 2 award, Dyer said, "I've been working hard since the start of the season, and it's great to see my work recognised. In October, I felt I was putting in strong performances and helping the team as much as I could. I would like to thank everyone who's supported me since the start of the season." So there you have it. A little update regarding Chelsea youth. Guys, we've got over 200 people in here. Much more on X, so big up to all of you. We've got over 50 on YouTube. Guys, smash the like button. It helps massively. Can we get up to 50 likes on YouTube? 50 likes, people. I don't even know what we're on now. Let me know what we're on. Can we get up to 50 likes? Big up to everyone. Let's have a look, see what people are saying. If we got Bastoni, Levi would want to leave Chelsea. I think, that's a fair point, especially if Colwell gets dropped. Gusto withdrawal from the under-21 French squad today as well. I wonder what that is to do with. I haven't heard anything as of yet. You think the right side of our defence needs help? Not a fan of Disassi playing right. Well, we don't need help. We've got Reece James and Gusto there. So just don't play Disassi. And then I don't think you have a problem. It's as simple as that, really. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned with the whole situation, Nkunku is a Chelsea man. He will continue to be a Chelsea man. I don't really think that he'll be leaving. I mean, if we did end up signing a striker, then fair enough. I would rather have Nkunku in the squad than João Felix, though. I will say that. I think Nkunku is much better. I mean, imagine if you had Jackson up top. Woo-hoo! Oh, pardon me. Woo! Look at that. What a sneeze. Goodness gracious. Imagine if you had Jackson up top. You had Victor Osimhen as well, or let's just say Gyökeres. So there's your options. You've got good depth up top. And then you had Palmer with Nkunku as the 10. On the left side, you could choose between Mudryk and Sancho. And then on the right side, you could have Neto or Madueke. So João Felix, to be honest, it does seem like a little bit of a pointless signing in that sense. Although I will say, I think he's performed really well. It's just the past 2 games he's been nowhere to be seen. I don't think he was great against United. I don't think he was great against Arsenal. So yeah, I mean, if we didn't have João Felix, this wouldn't be an issue. You'd just drop Nkunku back. So we've created a bit of a dilemma. I suppose if you wanted to be even more bold, what you would say is, okay, why don't we play? Why don't we play someone else out of position so Nkunku can play in his preferred role, in behind the striker, or even if he is going to be a striker, at least play the guy. I mean, how many games has Nkunku actually started for Chelsea? I think it's been a really, really frustrating season for him in that sense, because you've got a player in there who pretty much every time he plays, he scores. Let's not act like he's had a bad time. But he's just struggling on. I think it's quite insulting when you get put on after 87 minutes, like he did the other day. How are you supposed to make an impact consistently? In terms of goals, his overall team ranking is 4. And if you look at the minutes that he's had, I think that, but what competition? Is that just Premier League or? I don't understand what this is. He scored way more than 1 goal. What competition is this in? This is Premier League. Oh. So Premier League, he's our 4th highest goal scorer on 4. All right, let's just break it down then. Carabao Cup, he's our 1st highest scorer on 3. Conference League, 1st highest goal scorer, joint with João Felix on 4. So every time the guy plays, he performs. I think it's really, really harsh. You look at his stats in these competitions, and then look, the guy's not been given a chance in the league. It says 10 men's appearances. But how many minutes did he actually play? Only 155. So you're telling me in 10 games, so that's 155. Oh, my goodness. So he plays on average 15 minutes a game in the Premier League. That is not... How are you supposed to make a realistic impact? No, I'm with you. It's Noah's Ark. I understand that. But you say Conference League goals don't count. What's he supposed to do? Not score? So the guy is literally doing everything in his power to get into this side, and he's still not getting picked. I actually would argue that Nicholas Jackson wouldn't have scored as many goals in those competitions. That's my argument. Maybe I'm talking rubbish, but that's not to say Nkunku would score more in the Premier League either. But I don't think that Jackson is necessarily suited to playing against sides that sit as deep as Nkunku is. I think Nkunku is actually perfect. So when you play against a team like Nottingham Forest or Leicester, for example, who are going to sit a little bit deeper, those are the games that I'd play Nkunku in, because I actually think tactically it works really, really well. You're going to have the majority of the ball anyway. Everyone's talking about the pressing. Okay, maybe you don't have the pressing that you might want from a player like Nkunku. If you're dominating possession 65%, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think it's okay. You're still going to have a chance. Yeah, I mean, some of you think that Maresca's disrespecting Nkunku. Some of you don't think that he rates them. I think that Maresca knows Nkunku's a good player, but I think he just loves Jackson and what Jackson has to offer. I mean, I like Jackson, but it's a really unfair scenario at the moment. All of his goals are inside the box, as you can see. It's really difficult, though, man. Really, really difficult. I feel bad for Nkunku. I honestly think if you look before Chelsea as well, I mean, look at what the guy achieved. This isn't some bum that we signed. We signed a proper player. He's a graduate of the famed French National Football Academy at Clairefontaine and started his professional career at Paris Saint-Germain. He made 78 first-team appearances and was involved in 3 Ligue 1 title wins and 2 Coupe de France triumphs before departing for RB Leipzig in the summer of 2019. It is in Germany that Nkunku built his reputation as one of the finest forwards in European football. He scored 35 goals in all competitions during the 21-22 campaign and was named Bundesliga Player of the Season and German PFA Player of the Season. The DFB Pokal was also won. The versatile attacker struck a further 23 goals this season to help Leipzig secure a third-place finish in the Bundesliga and retain the DFB Pokal. I don't even know what that is. What is the DFB Pokal? I need to look that up. I don't really watch German football, to be honest with you guys, so give me a break. That is okay, so it's the German Cup. All right, fine. Is that like the Carabao Cup in England? Fair. So, yeah, I think it's been very harsh the way that he's treated, but I can understand why Maresca is playing Jackson. But for me, I want to see Nkunku start. I want to see it happen very soon. Big up to everyone that's watching. Smash the like button. Have we got 50 likes on YouTube yet? Everyone on X as well. Shout out to you. I want to give a big shout out to Omni as well, the sponsors. Guys, I will be going live later today on Omni with either Lewis or someone else. I've messaged Lewis. I said, Lewis, do you want to jump on an Omni? So if you want to hear me and Lewis have a chat and even speak to us, check it out. Download the app. There's a QR code on screen as well as a link in the description. Apart from that, guys, all the best. Just a short update for everyone, and we will catch up very, very soon.